Why does this Round 2021 program affect us? Well, I'm going to give you a good example. In the gap period, in one of the, I guess, one of the issues that, all the good advocacy efforts of AA Home Care that did not come to pass was, other than the rural areas, there was no improvement in the payment amounts during this gap period. So for the period, since the beginning of this year, for the next 2 years, those zip codes which are deemed rural will continue to get a blend of the 2015 fee schedule. So by way of example, oxygen's at about $181, and 50% of that, and 50% of the non-rural rate, which is about $72, and so you got some $130 issues. Those will continue. Now, we did a count of zip code by zip code by zip code, and 21% of the population that's Medicare 65 plus or disabled under fee-for-service are in that 50-50 blend. So there were suggestions to everyone from Mick Mulvaney when he was the OMB director through the advocacy efforts of AA Home Care that this blended rate should continue onward for all the areas that are not competitively bid. Of the 130 bid areas, you've got about half the Medicare fee-for-service population. So only 21% of your patients, you're getting this advantage of these higher prices. Now, for the rest of the country, you're at the current rate. So you're at anywhere between $68 and $72 for a month of oxygen, just by way of example, and $40-some for a month of CPAP rental and so forth. Now, there were some consumer product index for urban area updates, the inflation update. So the rule allowed in the 130 bid areas for a $100 widget to go to $102.50. They allowed inflation from the period of January to January, and that after an adjustment called a productivity adjustment came to 2.5%. The other items that are not included in the competitive bid program, like prosthetics or urologicals, they received a 2.3% update because that, I don't know if the word statute, Kara, but it goes from July to July, the measurement of the inflation period, less the productivity adjustment. So there's a small difference between them. Diabetic supplies remain at their low current rate, and there is no more diabetic program until there is an announcement, I guess, by rulemaking for diabetic. So we appreciate this one. I wish it could have been wider than the coverage. There has also been, as some of you are aware because you've contacted me, some reshuffling that we believe of county lines. So some rural zip codes turned into non-rural this month. And conversely, some non-rural zip codes turned into rural. There was about 300 of them. We have an Excel spreadsheet of which zip codes were affected. So to put that in perspective, 300 out of 40,000 is 0.2%. So it doesn't affect a lot of you, but some of you that had patients in those zip codes saw your oxygen reimbursement go from 140, wow, down to 68, and it did make a difference.